Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first and possibly last episode of Storytime with Golden. Today I will be reading a short story, definitely not written by me or my attempts of writing at all, definitely. So if you enjoy it, please leave a like and tell me what you think down in the comments below. And without further ado, let me get right into this. The vast darkness filled the air around him, practically suffocating him in the process. After the shadows settled upon him with a weight unknown, the nightmares of which the mind cannot comprehend, yet existed before him in a horrific manner, began to swarm around him. These creatures of the mind that reach out to touch are in no way subtle with intentions. His pain was all they sought by these painful things of shadow and wretch. They reached out to grab, but could only touch and pull away in a sort of fear set upon by the will of the man. Yet this turned them none away from his pain. Beyond the great expanse of darkness stood not a building, hill, tree. All was black beyond the creatures before him. Yet he stood tall, persevering through all that came before him. And yet all he could think was, why? That morning he awoke in a sweat not unlike a child after a bad dream, and yet here was no mother, no bed, no home. Here was a forest brimming with lively expanses of trees and brush. The sun was low on the horizon, yet as time passed seemed to grow. The sounds of birds filled the tops of trees, and light breeze pushed and pulled the green and brown world around him. The air was full with the hum of pure life. He looked in every direction, till in the distance he saw a color that stood out amongst the green. A rose bush to his right that seemed almost out of place. He stood, only shaking for a moment, like a toddler gaining its balance. He took a few paces toward the bushes, and he felt as if he was drawn to them. But through the workings of the forest he tripped amongst the foliage and began to fall. In the next few moments everything passed faster than one could imagine. He falls, and in the end he is still standing as if he had not fallen at all. Instead, the world around him was what fell. The trees lay in piles around the area, ash filling the spaces between. The greens and browns of life had been dulled by a grayness that filled the air, and thus dulled him and his senses as well. Clouds of smoke funneled out of tubes rising high out of the ground, spewing smog amongst the sky that blackened the clouds and cut the atmosphere like a knife. The thump of machinery pounded deep below him, shaking the ground around him with every pump of smog that was pushed out. He could do not more than stand and observe as the world he had just been brought into burn. The ash began to fill his lungs and he coughed to try and push it out, but in the end it clung inside him, filling him with dread. His head began to spin, and so did the towering spires around him. They all bent and turned till the smoke poured out in his direction. With this new attention from the towers came something new, a voice. A booming yell of screams and commands came from all of the pipes. All shared the same voice, yet said different things. "What are you doing here? Go back. Mind your own damn business." The screams were unending and always filled with rage. The man became scared and confused. Had he done something wrong? Why was his voice so angry? Some questions almost drowned out the yells of the voices around him. It wasn't until he collided with something that he had noticed he'd been running for quite some time now. He fell to his knees, disrupting and kicking up some of the ash from the ground into the air. Tears were already falling down his face, and his screams weren't heard by a soul. The long silence was cut by the sounds of wind, pushing away the ash and bringing forth the feeling most have forgotten, the feeling of a loved one's presence. It wraps around one like a feeling of warmth. Nothing else could truly match. The man lifted himself up and began to walk towards the feeling, drawn to it like a bug to a flame. reach the edge of the forest he once knew, it had become so different, distorted down to the roots. Every tree felt askew, and every bird that sang sounded out of tune. The warmth was there, but where was the love? And there goes my attempt at trying to be respected by anybody in the community that I'm going to be posting this for. If you enjoyed it, please let me know. If I should rewrite this, then also let me know. If you think I should go ahead and just delete this video and just, not try again, please let me know. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. This is Golden Quake, signing off.